Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. Please welcome another episode, actually 15th episode of Friday Night Real Talk. This is Nazrul Haq again, and you can join us at Ruku TV, at Facebook and YouTube. Just type channel tt.tv. Viewers, this show is also brought to you by, as usual, Senior Multi-Service Inc. Senior Multi-Service is the community organizer who help our seniors. You can call them 347-778-5252. This evening, viewers, we have a great show with an outstanding guest, and I have Fernando Cabrera, New York City Council member from District 14, and Fernando Cabrera is also a proudly serving a New York City Council member representing the 14th district in the Bronx since January 2010. His leadership position in the New York City Council as the chair of the Governmental Operation Committee and co-chair of the Gun Violence and Task Force, and Councilmember Cabrera is also a member of the Black and Latino Asian Caucus as a trans advocate and tenant and youth and seniors. Councilmember Cabrera is also senior pastor of New York Life Outreach International on the Bronx. Please welcome to the show Friday night, Councilman. How are you doing?
So good. Always good to be around you. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to get to our discussion. Before that, I just want to give you viewers a little bit highlight. There's so much to talk about us, but there's some highlight. So our caller can call us. For today's show, we want to talk about the mayor plan to reform the specialized high school test, which is HSSAT. We know a lot of parents is concerned about it. We also want to talk about a little bit our school our community have an issue with the halal food. We want to talk about the update situation about COVID-19, as you know, is still threat, and also the status of the vaccine. We'd like to talk about a Democrat-run Senate. How is going to affect? Is this more stimulus or is it bad future American economy? We want to talk about under President Trump watch, America is great again or split again. He going to face the activation of 25th Amendment or second impeachment. We want to talk about Governor Cuomo's prescription for pandemic. Is it save lives or really kill the New York State economy? So let's get to the business. How are you feeling? How is the family?
Well, it's good, but it was a difficult year. This last year, I lost my mother to COVID-19. 6 weeks later, my mother-in-law passed away. So it was a difficult year, in 2020, but it gave me a greater compassion, greater understanding what people are going through. So, matter of fact, my son, my daughter, many members of my church were one of the first clusters of those who got COVID-19 back in March, very early on. So right here in the Bronx. And so we've been dealing with this COVID-19 for a very long time. And I've been in it, speaking about it. I got in the daily news talking about how the Bronx was not getting its fair share. How come in New Rochelle, they were getting all the help. You had the military there. They were getting all the testing. And here in the Bronx, we were not getting tested. And so I've been a very loud voice when it comes to getting our fair share for our constituents here.
Now, as you know, I just mentioned we have a lot to talk, and I'd like to touch base everything. Before we go to the national level, I want to touch base, first of all, our local issues. So, yeah, we definitely want to know the status of the vaccine, but do you know what we're facing as a community? Because I also like to tell the viewers, Fernando Cabrera also is the Bronx Borough President candidate 2021. And you're going to be dealing with the Bronx a lot, and we need to know what you will do. So how is the campaign going?
The campaign is doing great. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
We have a lot of support in all of the communities, whether it's the Bengali community, African American community, Latino, Dominican community, Puerto Rican, Jewish community, all across from north to south, east and west. We gather a tremendous team. People want to see a better Bronx. Right now, we're facing unemployment, rising crime. Our kids are not getting properly educated because of what's happening with the level of education, especially elementary school and middle school students. Research show that online schooling is not the best mode for them. So we need a leader. We need somebody who's going to leap up front by serving, by coming up with innovative ideas. When I got into my district, we had a 23.5% unemployment. The worst in the city of New York, according to NYU Furman Center. We brought it down to 5.7. Crime went down 66%. I started the Cure Violence program, where now former gang members are helping gang members, and we help them get jobs. And then I had two high schools, and one of them has a 99% graduation rate. And all of the kids there are immigrants who usually come 2 years behind, but now they're graduating and with certificates of technology. I want to take that experience, those strategies, and use it all across the Bronx. So not only that we can get back to where we need to be, but forecast and be able to have a trajectory for the Bronx to be better than we have ever experienced, to have affordable housing for those who need them, as well in the healthcare.
You know, I know we, before you get into the pandemic, we had two other issues just happening since the George Floyd incident. And one of them is the defunding police, and also we have a bail reform. And NYPD has officially blamed those things are directly involved to the crime go up. As an incoming new borough president, what is your plan or position will be on those issues, mostly defunding police or bail reform? What is your standing?
Yeah, well, in terms of bail reform, there are some aspects that we have to definitely change. There are people who commit crime, get it in, 24 hours, they're out. And, you know, they do this multiple times. There has to be some way to protect the public and not have this revolving door. And so that's that piece. So we got to reform the bail reform. In terms of crime, look, I put more police safety cameras than any other council member, but at the same time working with the young people. And by the way, the cameras keep the police honest, and it keeps our people honest. And it's one of my biggest requests that I get for capital improvement in the district. But when it comes to the police, we need to have forums, we need to have the dialogue, we need to have a sense where we all in community and be able to change the culture that we have right now, so we could have public safety, and at the same time we could honor every citizen. I was at George Floyd, by the way, funeral. I was the only New York elected official, and I saw the pain that the family went through. And at the same time, I go to the precincts and I talk to the police officers and be able to work with them at the same time. We could have a balanced approach. We could have both at the same time.
So did you make it clear your position on defunding police? I mean, how that gonna help? If you say more cameras, how about the more training?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, when I speak to police officers, what they tell me is that what is needed is better training. And that training, we need to hire those who understand the best practices on police training So they are better prepared to deal with the public. They're dealing with very difficult situations on a daily basis, and they need to be properly trained. In some states, the training goes way longer than when we have here. I don't think the training here is long enough, and we need to give them more tools to deal with more difficult situations. And by the way, this is something that the PBA, the Police Benevolent Association, their union, the police union, that they want as well. They've been asking for this.
Yeah, so that's really a win-win situation. Now, you were a pastor. I know, I'm hoping. So I want to know that your position on, like, there's a new thing we're talking about within the Democratic Party called progressive values.
Mm-hmm.
We already have a liberal values. I don't know, what's the difference? How are you going to sharply define me the difference? And are you practice those values? And as a pastor, do you have any issue with them?
So, I consider myself a moderate Democrat. And so there are things, for example, that in a mosque, there are practice and there are certain laws that for whoever would like to practice that wouldn't happen in a mosque, right? Or wouldn't happen in a church. And I think we got to get to a place where we need to respect each other's truth. The Democratic Party, what I love about the Democratic Party is that we have a big umbrella. And all across the United States, you have people from the left, you have people who are moderates, and you have people who are conservatives. And it makes us a better party when we could come up with all of these ideas together. And as a matter of fact, you couldn't win without having all those camps together in the Democratic Party.
So you have no issue with this, any new progressive values, so-called, that kind of like saying that almost split the party in the thing.
So there are things that I think every group brings to the table, and that's negotiated. We experienced that in the city council. And so when we come together, everything is negotiated and the best ideas begin to rise. I'm not for socialism. I've always been clear about that. I'm afraid of socialism.
Well, they have some element of that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I respect their view. I respect their truth. Hopefully they'll respect my truth and we'll have that level of dialogue. And so I don't like super big government, but I want a functioning government that is able to empower people and help people accomplish the goals and the dreams and help our businesses have the proper
Is there such a thing called conservative Democrat?
Absolutely. There's many of them. As a matter of fact, you find them in Congress, the U.S. Senate, the City Council. We have them all across, and we need all of the above. I mean, we
and
see
it's just
it.
fine.
Yeah, because it's a part of diversity. How are we going to have a part of diversity, but we only say we want this only one group? What people don't remember, the Democratic Party used to be a conservative party.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went through a shift. And so that pendulum is always swinging. It's always swinging. And what it does, it helps us come together and say, what can we work on so it could help our community?
Viewers, I like to tell our viewers, please, you can join us. There's a number on the screen. You can join us, ask the question to the councilman, also a candidate for Bronx Borough, and we want to love to share with you. I want to touch base. It's a very important question. Also, viewers, please, if you're watching us on the Facebook, please share your page with the others. So this is a very important talk. We'd like to hear from the councilman so others can hear. So kindly please share your page. So Mayor, I want to grade the mayor for his pandemic operation from 1 to 10. And one specific, he's been trying from long time, coming up with a new policy, how we test for specialized. And I just want to quote from him that he said, the New York City have more than 50% Latino and black, I believe he said, also 57%. But if you go to the Stevenson school, there's only 7% of Latino black, and he thinks it's not fair. But this is something with the merit and talent base, and he want to reform the exam in such a way so those people who have a less score that can get in.
Right.
How this justifying? What is the position on that? How you gonna check someone talent without have a talent exam?
Look, I don't think that a student that is not prepared, who don't have the aptitude to enter into school at that moment in their lives, who don't pass the test, is demonstrated through the test to be able to enter to specialized school. But the problem is not that the black and brown communities are not producing enough students to be ready for that test. That they're not ready, that they don't have the knowledge base. They do have the knowledge base. Let me tell you what the problem is that they're not being prepared for the exam. And I could prove it to you because I provided discretionary funding. I did a pilot program in one of my schools who did not have any kids going to the specialized school. We trained the kids during the summer, and now we have kids going to Stuyvesant and Bronx High School of Science, which showed that what was missing was that the kids, not like the other kids in other groups, they go to school, the parents pay for specialized training to take the exam, they could afford it. A lot of our kids cannot afford it, and this is why what we need to do is have every kid have the opportunity. They want to be trained to take the test, and you'll be shocked how many more will be able to get in. And we're already proving that through our pilot program.
So I know at the end this is also up to the Albany how this thing gonna come, but I'm sure the city council should have a fair plan on that, because our community is a lot obsessed with this, and our parents, they prepare and they believe this is a gateway for success, and we do a lot of preparation for that, and we should be doing this. So a lot of parents who our community watching that, they're really looking forward to have this exam as it is. This way we have the opportunity, I'm sure. So the mayor, so what do you think about mayor and pandemic? Is it, how you want to score him?
Yeah, well, in terms of COVID, I agree with him that we need to start opening up for more people to get the vaccine. Right now, it's going too slow. I agree with him that we should have centers to open 24 hours a day. But I'm going to tell you this first week that we had this, we got thousands of vaccines sitting in hospitals, health centers, because a lot of people are not going in what they call phase 1A. And those are people who deal in the medical field. They literally had to go out there and try to get them in, who are dealing with patients of any kind. And so I think they need to start opening up a lot faster, and let's use what we have. People are dying. Like I shared earlier, my mom died for this. If my mom would have received that vaccine, she would have been alive today. Today, she would have been alive. And I don't want no other sons and daughters and grandchildren to have to lose their parents because a vaccine is sitting in some hospitals, sitting in some healthcare, and it's not being given to the people. And we're going, at the speed that we're going, the expert tells us it will take us 10 years. So we got to speed up.
Before we go to talk about our presidential election and the last days of our Donald Trump presidency, I want to touch base few things, and we're also going to have a virtual guest going to appear who going to give some tips to our viewers. But before that, look, let's talk about the New York City as we're talking about the mayor, and I know it's not only him. Is a two thing happening. The small business is completely drying, is crushed to the ground. I just lost one of my tenants today because he lost his store.
Wow.
And he just notice me is moving out. So, and we also, homeowner, 1 or 2 family is a big challenge.
Yes.
We see a lot of stimulus bill for covering everything, but there is, in the city level, I mean, we don't see any kind of, do you think it's a possibility that the small owner or the 1 family or 2 family owner can get some kind of tax break, like from the water bill or real estate tax, because people who are getting checks, sometimes they're not even, is a mix. Sometimes people getting who not supposed to even get.
Right.
And the real victim is sitting there and he's becoming loser. His distribution is not going. So what is the city's plan, anything at all about this small business, or which is not covering by this thing, and also this 1 family, 2 family owner?
So I think it was an epic failure by the city of New York not to, especially in the Bronx, to help our businesses. We only got 1% of all the loans given to the city by the Small Business Services, SBS, to our businesses right here in the Bronx. 1%, and yet we are the borough that struggles with the more. Historically speaking, this is a no-brainer. So the Tale of Two Cities continues. We had a lot of contracts that just went to one person. The food distribution went to one person. Why couldn't they share that with different restaurant owners, and they could have done distribution? And I called the administration on this particular issue, because we should have spread the wealth, and it would have helped our small businesses. There was not enough training with the SBA loan, the federal. I was holding forums on Zoom online, getting owners to come and to business owner to help them on how to fill out the application, because there was no information happening at the beginning. So we need to do more. I agree with you. There should be some kind of tax break taking place. Right now, the city wanted to pass a law so they could basically put homeowners in default if they can't pay the waters and bills and so forth. Right, and right now it's the worst time to do that to somebody. And I think part of the key with renters is right now we need to disseminate better information at the state level and at the city level. There is a one-shot deal to pay your rent, whatever rent that you owe, if you could prove that you lost income during that time. And that deadline is February 1st. So this is timely. Thank you for having here to share that. And I want to encourage people, if you need more information on that, to call my office at 347, here we go again, give you a little time to write it down, 347-590-2874. That's 347-590-2874. You call Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And that way, we could guide them and where they could get this one-shot deal. Our staff will be more than glad to help them out. And we need to help the small 1, 2, and 3 apartment homeowners that are struggling. They're scared, and rightly so. Now, we're going to get, and I know I'm jumping to the federal, but I had to connect it together. We have received indication that the federal government, the Senate and the Congress, the new Senate, are going to give the $2,000 relief per person for those making $150,000 or less per couple. And then if you make more than that, they begin to cut. So this is a great opportunity. I think it's going to be a big shot in the arm. The $600 before, I'm sorry, but that was just not enough. Not for New York.
And now, last minute, you want to give more one. Thank you for that. We want to take a short break, actually. Dear viewers, you're watching Friday Night Real Talk, and we are talking to our councilman, Fernanda Cabrera, and we will take a short break and we come back and with our virtual guest who's going to tell us about the SendWave apps, how you can use during the pandemic. This is the best tool you can use to stay home, how you can stay home and do your part of banking, mostly when you want to send money to anybody. So she's going to tell us the tips when we come back right after that. Still, please stay with us.
আপনি কি বয়স্ক পিতামাতা ও গুরুজনদের দৈনিক সেবা নিয়ে চিন্তিত? ভাববার কোনো কারণ নেই। সিনিয়র মাল্টি সার্ভিস ইনক আপনাকে দেবে বয়স্ক সেবার সকল সমাধান। আপনি কি বয়স্কদের সেবা করছেন? তাহলে আপনার সময়ের মূল্য হবে উপযুক্ত পারিশ্রমিক। এসএমএস ইনক স্বল্প মূল্যে বাড়ির দৈনিক কাজকর্মে যে কোনো ধরনের বয়স্ক সেবা দিতে সদা প্রস্তুত। নিউ ইয়র্ক স্টেটের বয়স্ক ও অক্ষম বাসিন্দাদের আস্থা এসএমএস ইনক এর পূর্ণ ব্যবস্থা। বিস্তারিত জানতে কল করুন 347-778-5252।
My name is Mohammed Majumdar. Since 1989, I have been living in Parkchester. I have spent the last 30 years in the community organizing and helping my district because the actual people in the community need a voice. I want to continue build the Bronx. I cannot build alone. So in June 2021, I'm asking for your vote.
Paid for by Majumdar for the Bronx.
সিটির হেলথ ডিপার্টমেন্টের পূর্ণ মানদণ্ডে তরতাজা ও ঐতিহ্যবাহী সুস্বাদু খাবারে রয়েছে ব্যাং ব্যাং শ্রিম্প, ডাম্পলিং, স্যালমন স্টেক, রকমারি বিরিয়ানি এবং চিকেন ললিপপের মতো বাহারি খাবার। আমরা উবার ইটস, ডোরড্যাশ আর গ্রাবহাবের মাধ্যমে খাবার ডেলিভারি করে থাকি।
এই করোনা মহামারীতে ঘরে বসে নিশ্চিন্তে অর্ডার করুন www.halalfresh.nyc।
হালাল ফ্রেশ প্রিমিয়াম চাইনিজ কিচেন, 2241D ওয়েস্টচেস্টার অ্যাভিনিউ, ব্রঙ্কস, নিউ ইয়র্ক 10462।
হালাল ফ্রেশ, আস্থা রাখুন, আমরা আছি আপনাদের সাথে।
Dear viewers, welcome back to the Friday Night Real Talk. This is our 15th episode and we're having a great show with outstanding guest here, Fernanda Cabrera, New York City Councilman. He's also Bronxboro President candidate 2021. Right now, also virtually going to connect with me, Miss Kansula Osori. Please welcome Kansula. Can you hear me?
I can. Hi. How are you?
Hi. Kansula, I know that you are executive for SendWave Money Sending Web, and this app is very good. Mostly during the pandemic, people can use it. So please tell us about the apps, how it works, and why it's good for people.
Yes, of course. Thanks, Naz. And I have a I pulled it up on my iPad so folks can see what it looks like. You should see a penguin. This is the logo. It's SendWave. And so SendWave is a money transfer service. We're an app with the mission to make sending money back home as easy as sending a text. Our founders, Drew and Lincoln, created this app in 2014 when they noticed that while there are so many money transfer options available in the US, if I wanted to send you a transfer where you are right now, I can do it in 10 seconds. There's so many, Venmo and PayPal and all these other ones. But when folks wanted to send money to support their families and loved ones back home in other countries throughout Asia and Africa, it was a lot more difficult. There were expensive fees. It takes a lot of time. It's really arduous. It's a lot of effort for something that is as simple and as important as sending money back home. So SendWave seeks to solve that problem. It is a free service, meaning that you will never get charged a commission fee. What you send to your loved ones back home is what they receive. It's instant, so money lands in we partner with all Bangladeshi bank accounts and Bcash wallets. And so the money gets to your recipient in seconds. And it is also secure. We're registered with the United States Department of Treasury. We're registered in the state of New York and in 49 states and the District of Columbia as well. And as you know, COVID is ravaging our communities. It's ravaging communities that are sending money back home predominantly. And this is a solution that will enable you to still support your loved ones, but to do so from your home, the comfort and safety of your home, without having to go outside and expose yourself and have cash and deal with, traditional money sending options.
Thank you. I just want to ask you, many people in our community or anybody in general, so scared to use their private information or bank card online.
Yeah.
So how secure is your apps? Why should not someone worry about it or stealing their personal information?
That's a great question. And it is 2020, and there are a lot of cybersecurity threats and privacy concerns happening right now. So it makes total sense for people to be wary of putting their private information. As I mentioned earlier, we are regulated by the Department of Treasury. We are regulated by state laws, by federal laws, which manage and make us comply with how we manage and handle private user information. On top of that, we use 128-bit encryption, which means that all user data is completely secure, completely private. Even team members of SendWave, I work at SendWave, I can't access any user data at all. And so we really go above and beyond to make sure that user information is protected, because that's one of the most important things to people, beyond making sure that it's a convenient experience, it's instant, beyond making sure that it's even free. People want to know that their information is safe. And so we go above and beyond to make sure that there are firewalls, that there are protections, that there are a lot of kind of checks and balances and things in place, processes to make sure that user data is always protected and secure.
One more question on security. So you telling me that SendWave is in no moment holding anybody's personal data in real real shape, or holding the fund is all encrypted and described? Is there something? So is it?
Yes.
Can you clarify?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So we have information like your name, your email address, things that we use to identify you, to make sure that no one else is pretending to be you, for example. But in terms of financial information, that information is completely secure and protected, and there's no one that has access to it. The money actually, when you're sending money to, say, your friend or your family or your loved one back home, the money is sent instantly. It's taken directly from your account into theirs. So there's no point in which we hold the data or keep it. There's no need for us to do that. And that's part of why our service is so quick, it's so fast, because unlike other services that might hold your data and do some different things with it, we actually just make sure that it's going straight from your pockets to the pockets of your recipient without any intermediary. So we never keep your...
Before you go, can you share your website or any information that anybody can search and Google you and learn more about it?
Yes, our website is sendwave.com, SENDWAVE. We have a little penguin as our icon, and you can download the app on all phones. We have an iOS with Apple. If you have Android, we're on the Google Play Store, we're on the App Store. So you can download it in a second and start sending with love.
Thank you, Consola, for your time. I think you will explain very well, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers will love to use your app. Thank you for coming and giving your time.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman, for your patience So we really talk a lot about New York City. I know. I think you covered it all. The last thing you said about the housing and something else. Did you finish it up or?
Yeah, finished up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we finished.
So basically, the governor, before you go to our national level, governor lately he wrote a book. It's called How to Handle the Pandemic. It's called Leadership Lesson. And Donald Trump is keep blaming him for killing thousands of senior citizens in the nursing home. And Republican on ball, they're saying that he killed the New York City's economy forever. He's destroyed this great city and state. What is your take on it?
Look, the first thing I would say is that it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback. New York City, New York State was the first one to get hit at a mega level. And so I sympathize. I've been in government, and to be really the executive for the entire state of New York is a huge responsibility. No, I don't think he killed the 6,000. There were decisions that were made that could have been better. Yes, people should have not been sent with COVID, seniors back to the senior centers. They should have been sent to the Javits Center, for example. We had enough space there for many of them. And we could have created more space. But it's hard. You know, these are decisions that are made daily with something that we knew very little of, that the federal government did not prepare us for, and we didn't have the proper testing. And so now in terms of, for example, restaurants, I think restaurants should be open. Why? Because a research showed you only have like a 1% chance of getting COVID in a restaurant. There's a 75% chance you're going to get it in your living room when you invite your friends, because you can't go to a restaurant where it's safer and the social distance. And so I think we're creating scenarios with good intentions. I believe there are good intentions, but it's killing our restaurant businesses, and there's not equity. Why is Westchester County open
There you go.
at 50%, and here we're not open at all? I was the only elected official from the Bronx to stand up with all of the restaurants on it and 42nd Street. We did a huge march. We went all the way to the governor's
That's
office.
a big unfair thing. If you just go block away from Bronx North, the restaurant is open.
You go to Cheesecake
And
Factory.
Cheesecake, everything.
Ridge Hill.
It's Ridge Hill, everything open. It's like
wide
rock.
open. Why? And over there, COVID cases are higher than the Bronx. So there's not fairness. And at one point, you start thinking, why are we being targeted? You can't say it's because of density, because it's not having an effect on those numbers. Over there, they have less density, and yet the cases are higher. It's behavior. So I think at the end of the day, I talk to restaurant owners with tears in their eyes, saying, back in March, I didn't own a penny in my businesses. Now I'm $500,000 in the hole. Some of them, they're closed forever. They told me, I can't
You
come
lost
back.
such a restaurant will never come back. And
Never.
they're good. They're icon of the New York.
Absolutely.
People came for those restaurants.
We're estimating about 40% of them will not be able to bounce back and already close down for good. And people come, people come from all over the world because of the restaurants that we have here. That's
But
an
the
attractive.
last one, when he recently closed the indoor dining, that was, I think, completely essential. We go to supermarket, we shopping, we do other gathering, and we can get more, like you say, is a more chance to get it. If the restaurant have a 50%, it's fine. Before the lockdown, there was a 50%.
Right.
And which is very distant. They did very good job. I went to a few restaurants. They did very good job. Everybody's nice, clean. So there was not really, yeah. So
No,
I kind of agree that he killed the economy way a little too much because there's a saying, this is a war. COVID is a war, and we have to fight to win it. You can just sit home and win it. Eventually, you have to develop the herd immune.
Right.
And you have to look, China didn't lock down long time.
Right.
Korea didn't have it. Vietnam didn't have it. They just overcome. And many other.
And here's the thing that a lot of people don't know, that the U.S. federal government in military bases, they have technology that is available for sale right now. For $3,000, they have technology right now that will not allow COVID to travel in such a way when you're close to somebody. It will not allow, it uses peroxide, and it's completely 100% safe. Studies have been done at University of Indiana, and we know we have technology that will help, that is being used by the military and other places, and they should just allow people, say, if you got this technology that will stop people from getting COVID in a closed room, why not use it? Say, hey, if you want to open, use that, and then they'll be glad to do it. They're spending $15,000 for those outdoor dining, 20, 25,000, sometimes more. This will be, they'll be gladly to put it, but don't shut them down to the place. They're still paying rent to this point, and they're not going to be able to come back, many of them.
Very good. Thank you for that. This is really a good point, and we really think governor need to think about and try to come up, and still it's not too late to do something. Now, before I go to talk about the DC situation, I want one local more thing to touch. I know you're running for a Bronxboro president, and we want to count on it. This is something our community issue. As a Muslim American in the Bronx, we are big, huge. We've been fighting along to get this halal food in the school. You know that we're very serious about the halal food. But there is a problem right now. This halal food coming from not designated halal vendor. What they're really doing right now, they're just basically putting a vegetable, which is considered, any vegetable is automatically by default halal. But just because I want to eat doesn't mean my kids, our kids should not get a halal protein just with vegetables. So that's what they're doing. So I want you to know that we have a beautiful restaurant, like you see a little earlier, Bangla Bazaar of a lot of good restaurant, and there couldn't be a very good vendor for our high school, middle school. Yes, I'm going to get to the caller in a second. So I want you to put in your agenda that how can we really get the different kind of vendor and halal vendor from the halal food, because we just don't want a vegetable as a halal food.
Right.
We have someone on the line, and before you answer that, caller কি আমাকে শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? Hello? Hello? Is there someone call us? Hello? I think so. So you want to say one word before I go about this?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Listen, we got to honor people's religious practices. That's something very sacred. I've been a religious man myself. I don't care what religion it is. We have to honor that. One of the worst thing you could do is have somebody go against their conscience or go hungry because they don't believe what is being dubbed as halal is not truly halal. And so we have to definitely honor in the Board of Education.
Well, you just have to pick the right vendor to control it.
Yes.
আমাদের কি কলার লাইনে আছেন, আমাকে শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? হ্যালো,
জি শুনতে পাচ্ছি। আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
আপনার নামটা বলে কোশ্চেন করবে প্লিজ।
জি, আমি রাকিব খান। আমি হালাল ফ্রেশ নামের একটা রেস্টুরেন্ট চালাই। তো আমার কোয়েশ্চেনটা ছিল যে আমাদের যে নিউ ইয়র্ক সিটিতে আমাদের ব্যবসায় যে একটা ইমপ্যাক্ট পড়ছে, তো এটার অ্যাকচুয়ালি ভবিষ্যতে কি হতে যাচ্ছে, আর আমাদের যে মনে করেন বিশাল ধরনের একটা লস, সিটি আমাদেরকে কি হেল্প করতে পারে, এন্ড ভ্যাকসিন আসলে আমরা অ্যাকচুয়ালি কিভাবে ভ্যাকসিনটা পাবো, I mean আমরা যেহেতু সব সময় ওপেন থাকি। সো এটা আমার কোয়েশ্চেন।
Thank you, bhai. He was just asking, he's a restaurant owner. He have actually 3 different questions, if I remember. How, as a small owner, what kind of benefit you going to get because they are suffering. And also, if we, the second one, I think he would say, if we, as a frontline worker, if they're going to be considered to get a vaccine because they're in the front worker, and if they're going to get any kind of benefit. So if you want to...
Yeah, very, very good. So regarding the vaccine, phase 1B is going to start on Monday. And so I encourage him to check every week. There's going to be a list of those who qualify to get the vaccine. I don't believe restaurant owners and restaurant workers right now, last time I checked, they're not in that list yet. I am expecting that the following week they will. And so, and you could just walk in. You don't have to make reservation. For example, Morris Heights Health Center in Burnside, near University. You just walk in, tell them you want the shot, and if you qualify, then you'll receive it. What I would encourage regarding businesses, and I'm glad that he called, because there is right now, it's only $5,000, but $5,000 is $5,000 that the city is helping with businesses. I'll encourage them to call my office so we can guide them in the steps of getting from the Small Business Administration services that grant, and the number is 347-590-2874. Let me say that again, and thank you for calling. 347-590-2874. Call us on Monday, and we're going to guide you regarding that grant. It's a grant. It's not even a loan. You get that one-shot deal for your business.
He also was worrying about that when they're going to back to the business, because everybody is doing only outside dining, and they don't have a facility to outside dining. So it's really the whole community, small business is dying. So we have to reach out the governor about this. But look, we don't have a lot of time left. So let's back to our real business now. Today I'm really dying to, I have so much to say, I don't know where to start. So how you think the President Donald Trump should be remembered as a president?
Listen, it was horrific what we just saw happen.
And is he alone, or is 147 with him?
Let me tell you, right now he's finding himself very much alone. A lot of even the Republicans, many Republicans, distancing themselves. There is Monday, there's going to be Congress going to put papers of impeachment. And then I don't think it's going to happen in the Senate because it's controlled by the Republican. But what a lot of people don't know, he could still get impeached even after he leaves. And so I believe that's exactly what's going to happen. And if when a president gets impeached, he's not allowed to run for president any longer. So that will shut him down. Today they shut down everything on him.
That was the title on my thing, is he's going to be impeached, or they're going to activate the 25th amendment.
I think that it's going to be
there's any chance for 25th amendment
activate? From what I hear, it's unlikely, though many members, and certainly us Democrats, because that was, I've never seen anything like that. I should have never seen, that has not occurred since 1814 when the British came to invade us here. And to have people going to the Capitol, and we have a Capitol Police that got killed, 5 people overall killed, and creating mayhem, disability. There has never been a protest by Americans who took over the Capitol. I was so livid and angry about that, because this is not the way democracy survives and lives in America. And
look,
it's a bad example. It's embarrassing to the whole world.
It looks like it's very organizedly. These people are welcome and walk in freely, walk out freely.
Yes.
I don't want to blame them altogether. It looked like completely was somebody from White House gave it instruction to this police, because can you imagine everybody saying, if these people was the brown people, somebody like me, or African American, or Muslim terrorists, they will be all killed over there, and no one will be going home.
The president himself says, go, and so you got to take it by force. I mean, how else? And when you got some crazy, radical, super right people in there, that they went and did exactly what the president said that they should have done. you know, it's very selfish. Let me just call it for what it is. It's very selfish. He lost. And to come up with lies about the election, it is that he didn't lose. I mean, his own Republican Party governors and attorney generals and state secretary of states in Georgia are telling him that, no, you lost. And yet he gets on the phone and said, give me 11,000 votes. Any one of us did that here. Many things that he has done. I would have been in jail a long time
So that's
ago.
not subject of Attorney General of the investigation, what he called and asked him to give me about 11,000 votes.
He called this the Secretary of State.
Yes.
And he said, find me 11,000 votes.
Getting specific number.
Yeah, because he knew how many he needed.
Needed.
Yeah,
It's
in
like-
order to win.
And
he, you know, who does that? You know, and the problem, part of the problem is, Trump had never ran for anything else. See, that's the problem. When somebody jumps into a big position and they never work it through, it's like going from kindergarten to a
University.
PhD program. I have a doctorate degree, so I know about how difficult it could be.
Yeah.
And then thinking it's a playground. And unfortunately, we all paying for
But
it.
you know, look, he is crazy, we know that. But what about these people I'm talking about? 147 representatives who vote to stop the certification. 6 lawmakers was among the rioter. Among the rioter, they were doing action on the floor. Then Rudy Giuliani is completely pushing the whole thing. What about them? Are they going to face any consequence? And now we lost a police officer today.
Well, the lawmakers, and as I was reading today, some of them were those lawmakers were state lawmakers. And then, we got,
we got one phone call. Yes, caller, আমাকে শুনতে পাচ্ছেন, please.
জি শুনতে পাচ্ছি
Please, আপনার নামটা বলবেন and ask question.
জি আমি নিয়াজ সুলতানা বলছিলাম ব্রঙ্কস থেকে আমি জানতে চাচ্ছিলাম যে এখন যে বাচ্চাদের স্কুলগুলো তারা তো সব সময় ক্লাস করতে পারছে না বেশিরভাগ সময় অনলাইনে ক্লাস হচ্ছে কোভিড-19 এর কারণে এখন ভ্যাকসিনের বিষয়টা কি ভ্যাকসিন কি বাচ্চাদেরকে স্কুলে খুব সহজলভ্য করে দেয়া হবে তারা কি এই ভ্যাকসিনটা খুব সহজ স্কুল থেকেই দিয়ে তারপর স্কুলের ক্লাসগুলো কি পুনরায় আগের মতন করে স্টার্ট করা হবে এটা আমার একটা কোশ্চেন
ধন্যবাদ আমার কলের জন্য So she was asking about the kids gonna have an opportunity to get a vaccine through the school, and after vaccinated, do you think the physical class gonna start?
so that's an excellent question in which I spoke to our chief medical officer of a health center yesterday, and the answer is that this vaccine is for those for 16 and older. They are doing tests even as we speak to see the efficacy, how well does it work with children. So they're not going to be in this first or second or third round because we still don't know how it will affect children. But they're working, they're doing testing as we speak.
So, like I was saying, these are the lawmaker. Beside that, also his his son directly threat all the Republican. If you don't support this not impeachment certification opposing, I'm going to make sure all of you are going to lose the re-election. So all this thing, I mean, this is American, again, American culture, presidential culture. And even still, he's there. So I really feel that Nancy policy is right, and I think she should go forward.
Right.
Regardless what happened, he should be put a record that he was impeached. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think on Monday they're going to do that. They're going to put the papers for impeachment. But I guarantee
He deserves no respect.
Look, I'll be shocked if after the 20th, when the new Senate comes in, that then they're not going to impeach him. They're going to impeach him afterwards. I'll be shocked if they don't. And they should, because what took place there is shameful, very shameful. That was a painful day for me to watch what I saw. And now we're getting more videos and we're seeing what happened. We had even sons of judges We had state lawmakers. One of them got arrested today. I forgot the state, but he got arrested today. I mean, we're talking about people who in society should have known better. They should have known better. You want to protest, everybody has the right to protest.
This is not a protest.
This was taking...
This is a terrorist,
This was a horrible situation that should have never happened.
Your final thought on BP's action, and I think he did some good last minute work. So how you wanna tell him about a few words? He's the one called the National Guard, and I talk about Mike Pence.
The VP. Yes, I thought you said BP, like borough president. The vice president is in the worst possible situation, right?
Yeah, but he did some good stuff. At the
the right thing for him to do, he didn't know his condition. The right thing for the vice president to do is to say, let's call an Article 25. Everybody knows he's not in his right mind. Who does that? I want you to think about that. There is a dignity in which you as elected officials should carry yourself. And there is something about transferring power to somebody that speaks loudly about your character. There's something fundamentally wrong in the way there's a lack of sanity there. And he was warned by his own staff not to do that. And so I think Pelosi is correct in calling Vice President Pence to invoke the 25th. And that's a tough thing. And that is a painful thing for us Americans to see. But we have to send a loud message. You don't do this in America.
But I think he was the savior at the end, and he deserves some credit, Mike Pence.
Yeah, I think he did correct, and he was praised by Pelosi and them for not doing what President Trump wanted him to do, but the brakes should have been put way earlier. And he only
Councilman, I want to wrap it up. Before you do that, I want to just clarify again. The young lady just called earlier. So you mentioned that the vaccination we have to go through the clinic is not by the school. The school have no program for that.
Right now, as it is right now, we don't have a system in place for children. Mm-hmm. And I think they might be waiting on studies.
Yeah.
Because how do you give a vaccine to something that hasn't gone through research with kids? The Moderna, Pfizer was not done in children.
So this is not even for children at all.
Well, 16 and above is what they're going to be given.
Okay. Councilman, I wish one day Congressman.
Oh, you can prophesize.
And look, I want you to go over there and create a Bangladesh caucus there.
Yeah, there you go. Do that. Come on, that's what
I'm so happy and glad. Our viewers so glad to you here, and we great discussion, and we learned a lot of information. I want to thank you for coming to the show, and I want to wish you all the best to the election, and looking forward to talk to you again.
Yes.
Shortly. I appreciate your time. Dear viewers, we had a great, outstanding guest here today, Fernando Cabrera. He's the councilman from District 14. We talk about a lot of issues of our community, his school, and he's running for borough president, and we're looking after. He's a great leader. He's a pastor. He's the man we can count on it, and I'm sure we're looking forward. And we also, we can really count on his values. Is the best we can have the combination of Democrat and conservative and all these other values. And I'm really we can count on him. And I'm glad we have a great show. And everyone who was listening and asked questions, I want to thank you very much. And please stay with us and listen to this channel TT.TV. This show was brought to you by Senior Multi-Service. Don't forget to call Senior Multi-Service if you have an issue with the seniors. And until the next Friday, please stay tuned, and we will have a great show again next Friday. Hopefully we have a new president, and we talk about the new issue. Thank you, Congressman. You want to say one last word before you go?
Well, I want to say thank you. Thank you for a tremendous program today, and for being able to get the information out. Looking forward to your support as I run for Bronx Borough President. I'm ready to serve you and to see the Bronx rise. and to be a better Bronx for all communities. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, viewers. Until next Friday, see you again. Bye-bye.